Thank you everyone for taking time out of your day. Thank you for traveling. For those who were able to travel and get over there, please get home safe. What I'd like to do is go introductions around everybody. We'll start with actually Jim, because he is a rock star VOAD. So we'll start with Jim, and then we'll go from there, and we'll work around, and we'll do that. We'll go online first, and then we'll pick everybody in the room. And yeah, so we'll start there. Jim.
I'm Jim Huey. I'm the president of NorCal VOAD, and currently splitting my time between Happy Camp and Eureka, where we're overseeing the project to rebuild homes here in Happy Camp from the Slater fire. And I'm calling you today from the fifth wheel I stay in Happy Camp because it's snowing outside.
Excellent. Let's start with John Goulet. You're on mute, sir. Still muted. All right, John, so we're not getting you on there. You're still muted.
Brian, I'll text him.
All right, so while we're doing it, Jackie's on, so why don't we go ahead and start with Jackie then?
Hey everybody, Jacqueline Nushi, Project Camp. What else was I supposed to say? Sorry.
What you guys do? Yeah.
Brief what do we do? What do we do? Okay, so we respond to a disaster with summer camp. So it gives the kids a chance to be kids and to relax and not stress, and it gives the families a chance to deal with everything that's going on with the disaster. That's basically it.
What if the disaster's in the winter? Then do you do winter camp?
We only respond as long as we don't respond if it's shelter in place. So that's the one thing I've been trying to teach the guys, that if you emergency managers are telling everyone to shelter in place, we don't show up for that because it's just would cause a problem. Otherwise, yes, we respond to just about every disaster you can think of.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we're gonna go with John now. He looks like he's off mute. Still no sound. All right, John, we'll let you get that figured out, and then we'll go to Annie Barbour.
Yes, my name's Annie Barbour. I am with, I'm a 2017 Tubbs Fire survivor, and I work for United Policyholders, which is a nonprofit that's been around for 30 plus years, helping people navigate their insurance issues. And
wow,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you being on. Cynthia Collinson.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Cynthia Kalmanson. I'm with the Imagine You Project, and we're a training and education organization that supports skills and provides skills and tools for folks working in long-term recovery around helping clients, disaster survivors, really move forward in their disaster recovery. So some of our partners are on this call, and I'm just happy to be here as a resource.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see. John, you want to give it a try? I got nothing. It sounds like my day today with this computer. I'm going to be. All right, so no sound. We'll come back. Don't worry. We're not going to forget about you. Let's go April. I'm going to kill that.
It's okay. April D. Mercurio. I'm from Northern Valley Catholic Social Service, and my team does disaster outreach, and we provide emotional support and connect people to resources after they've been affected by a disaster. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Where are you out of?
I'm based in the Reading office, but we serve Shasta, Siskiyou, and I listed them all. I won't go into all of them, but 8 counties in
Okay. Thank you. I think I've worked with you on a past thing, not in this life, but
yeah, I think maybe the Trinity LTRG.
yeah. So I was part of. I lived in Reading, so and worked
Okay.
closely with those groups. So yes. Let's go, Dave McAdams.
Hi, I'm Dave McAdams. I'm the Executive Director for Siskiyou Media Council. This is my first meeting with this group. My goal is, I've been at the Executive Director since October 2022. My goal is to get the television station to be more valuable to the community by offering its services to helping to do emergency notification, emergency or recovery processes and things like that, utilizing the servers that we're trying to get through grants and other funding. The new ones will give us the opportunity to go to multiple platforms and bring in multiple sources and go out to there so we can actually enhance the emergency notification process and information that goes out. So we're just looking at seeing if we can fit into this group and if this group would be finding this as a useful tool.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Garnett Moore.
Hello, everyone. My name is Garnett Moore. I work for Northern Valley Catholic Social Service and Disaster Case Management. I'm the program manager for the Slater, Monument, and Dixie fires. Nice to see everyone today. And John's working. Yeah.
All right, John, you're on. We got some.
I think you're over here. Different computer.
That's what I'm doing.
Start video.
All right. We got sound. We got comms.
We got John.
We got John.
Hopefully you can hear me now.
Lima Charlie, loud and clear.
All right, thank you. John Golay, Rescue Ranch.
Awesome. Thank you. And we've been following your video with Hope. So that has not been helpful with my wife. She wants to adopt more dogs. So stop posting those. No, but thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Teresa?
Hi, I'm Theresa Azevedo with United Way of Northern California. I am the Disaster Services Senior Program Specialist, and with United Way, we offer many services. So we, after a disaster, we stick with the community during the disaster, immediately after the disaster, and then during the long-term recovery process, offering different programs like our immediate assistance gift card program. We have our RV assistance program, as well as our SHOP program, which is our stable housing opportunities program. So we just are in it for the long haul after a disaster hits. I also serve as the secretary for the Shasta Tehama VOAD, and I'm also the secretary for the 96094 Collaborative, which is the long-term recovery group for the Mill Fire.
Thank you. And let's go, Kim Baca.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, cool. I'm the disaster program manager for Siskiyou County, Shasta, Lassen, and Modoc. And in Red Cross, we respond to disasters. We're opening up shelters, we're providing mass feeding, and we're distributing emergency supplies, just to name a few. We also do preparedness. We do educational programs for kids or adults in the community. We install smoke detectors for at-risk communities as well. And then we also provide recovery services through case management. So that's a little bit about what we do. But thank you for
Awesome.
having me.
Thank you. Brian Adams, I don't think we've called on you yet.
Yeah, hey there. My name's Brian. I'm a case manager with Dignity Health Connected Living. We provide senior citizens with resources and services so they can stay in their home and avoid long-term institutionalization. And I'm the manager for Siskiyou County, so we like to stay on top of available resources.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Meg?
I'm just visiting. I'm with Amador County. I just wanted to sit in. We don't have a VOAD response at all. So just trying to figure out how it works.
All right. Hey, us too. So that works great. So
Thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Abel?
Hold on just a second, Brian. Filling
Yeah.
in, Meg Verardi is from Trinity Episcopal Church, Sutter Creek in Amador County, and they are in the process of exploring a VOAD at this point.
Awesome.
So she's learning.
Excellent.
Sorry, Brian.
Love
Thank
it.
you. Go ahead.
No, of course. Abel?
Good morning, everyone. Abel Luvano, Cal OES Long-Term Recovery and member of the Recovery Support Functions team. I also operate as the Natural and Cultural Resources Coordinator and also assist with gap funding identification and data requests. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Who have I not called? Matt? Did I?
Have it called Owen, Cheryl, Matt, and that's it.
Okay.
Just
all right, Matt it is.
Well, great. Well, thank you. Good morning. Senior Program Manager overseeing disaster and 211 NorCal for United Way of Northern California. I will not repeat what Theresa shared. I will add, though, one component, two components that United Way of Northern California does provide, and that is Disaster 211 for the county. And then also we are the grant recipient to implement Least Dose program. It's a statewide disaster preparedness program. And so Siskiyou County is one of the counties we have that grant for. We'll be coordinating with this VOAD to collaborate with getting community members the Least Dose curriculum. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Cheryl.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Rushton. I am with PSA2 Area Agency on Aging. We cover Lassen, Modoc, Shasta, Siskiyou, and Trinity, and we are senior resources and advocacy.
Great, thank you. Mr. Owen.
Hey everybody, my name is Owen Cabo. I'm the Disaster Services Coordinator for Siskiyou County. I'm currently working with Theresa on the 96097 Collaborative. I'm kind of managing the shelter program for the mill fire and working closely with that group of folks. Great to be working with all of you.
Excellent. We will start with me. Well, I'll start myself as well. So Brian Shoney, I'm the Director of Emergency Services here for Siskiyou County. So I started in 2021, and this has been one of the things that I really wanted to push is to have a VOAD in Siskiyou County. I worked a little bit with a few programs in Shasta County, and that was the Shasta Trinity VOAD was certainly something that we saw value in. And then once becoming the emergency manager here for Siskiyou, that has been a lift that I've wanted to really push forward. The problem is it seems like every week I have a disaster. So it's just been difficult, but we're rolling. It's been amazing to see this group just in our second meeting already start to grow. I love that Abel was here to watch, or yeah, was it Abel? Yeah, who to see what's going on. I think this is a very pioneering activity for us in Siskiyou because we're such a big county and we're so spread out, and not that it's certainly not that it's a challenge, but it is. There are challenges associated with having Siskiyou County and having such a big county, so spread out, so many resources in every direction. And as most of you know, it's an hour to get somewhere. So to be able to coordinate these resources and have this as a whole is going to be extraordinarily helpful for those who are going to be suffering from disasters, and trying to ease that and mitigate that suffering as much as we can. So that's me. That's where we're at. We'll go around the room, and we'll start with, well, I can't see. So we'll let you guys decide.
Let's start with John Michael and go around the room clockwise.
John Michael Patterson with the Wairika Host Lions Club. I'm also the North Region Chair for the Lions District 4C1, which has me supervising the clubs in Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and Port Shasta County. I'm also on the district disaster relief team for the Lions District, as well as the district communications officer. And I'm also with the Wairika Food Bank as their media coordinator.
Denise?
My name is Denise Patterson. I'm the Executive Director of the Wairika Food Bank, the local board chair for the Emergency Food and Safety Program that's facilitated through FEMA to award monies to organizations that are like Red Cross, different places that are out there for the disaster. I am also on the CLC Advisory Board. And with the food bank, we're out there to help anybody that's in need when the disasters arise. We help everybody that contacts us. So that's our primary reason for being there. We've been here 40 years in Siskiyou County, and hopefully we'll stay that many more.
I think that covers it. Stephen?
I am Stephen Bryan with the Siskiyou Community Resource Collaborative, Regional Program Director, over 7 family and community resource centers throughout the county, and also the vice chair on the executive board for the 96094 Collaborative Middle Fire Long-Term Recovery Group, and also been leading the collaborative meetings since September.
I'm Crystal Aston with the Fort Family Foundation, and I live here in Mount Shasta, and it was with the 2020 fires that we started really digging into emergency response and put together funds specifically to address emergency needs and long-term recovery work. And I'm also, I'm on our foundation's like core disaster team, and also connect with some of the other funders in the region.
Thank you.
Marie Caldwell, Executive Director of Siskiyou Works. We link education to industry to improve our economy, our workforce, and our community, but also sit and support McKinney Fire long-term recovery, Slater Fire long-term recovery, and have sort of been supporting a FAR mill cover recovery only because I ran out of time. But working hard to support and connect our long-term recovery teams with funding resources.
I'm Joe Bergman, work for Kimberly Baca. I'm based out of Mount Shasta. Some of my focus areas are actually the immediate sheltering needs when there's a fire. So evacuation shelters and feeding. I also do community programs. So our sound the alarm, where we do free installation, smoke alarms, and anyone's home who needs it. And just other general preparedness events, school programs for education on preparedness, home fire, wildfire. So just kind of runs the gambit, and whatever Kimberly wants me to do.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm from Mount Shasta. I'm the St. Barnabas representative for VOAD, and also we work the local assistance centers when called upon.
So she's the rep from right here at this church. And I am Mark Dibelka. I am the Missioner for Disaster Resilience for the Episcopal Diocese of Northern California. Fancy term says I'm the Bishop's Emergency Manager. And if it has to do with disaster everywhere from preparation to long-term recovery, I do it. And I am on the executive board for the 96094 Collaborative with the Emotional Spiritual Wellbeing Committee. And I work all over the place, which is how I know a bunch of the people that are on here from other parts of the state. Thank you, Annie.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So I appreciate everyone really. So really next we're going to go updates with our local government, which will start with me. So kind of what we've been doing and what we have planned. Do we have a Cal OES on? I thought I saw somebody from Cal OES. If not, that's all right. So right now, our biggest thing has been building our presence for a VOAD, pushing that out, integrating that into our plans, whether it be our emergency operation plans, our hazard mitigation plans. So having that and tying that into the significance of what you do as a whole and what abilities we have and capabilities is going to be very important, especially moving forward into the wildfire season and therefore and then more. So building that presence has been our major goal. Our PIO and I have worked closely together. She can't be here today. She has a sick child. But looking at engagement. So so example, we saw Rescue Ranch. We talked about the puppies. People love puppies. Anything that we can do to start helping any of you folks out there that can start getting that message out and pushing out what you do, we are more than willing to help with that. We're going to see some, more of me, in and around your whatever you do. So whatever that, and we'll talk about that. So whatever it is that you do, we're going to come out, we're going to say hello, meet and greet, and do a segment that we can start pushing that out to social media. We've talked to some news agencies that are really excited about getting involved on that. And that's been our big push for the engagement side of things. Working on a logo, a few different ideas that we have. We'll send those out to the Slack group. And then for me, defining our roles and responsibilities and how we intermingle with you as the VOAD and those that are out there doing the work. Objectives of what the group and what the VOAD should look like and moving forward, how we're going to do that. And then with those objectives, looking at the response, who's recovery, kind of in that recovery, kind of tying to that mitigation and what roles, responsibilities, and services you offer that we can integrate that in. So when we pull that piece out, hence disaster happens, event, we can pull that piece out and be like, this piece fits nicely here. This group does this here. Most of you have that in your roles and responsibilities, but for us as a county, or for something happens in our EOC, maybe our ops chief is taking care of that. Maybe I'm away doing whatever. We can just basically pull, plug and play, and we can have that. So that's what I've been working on as the county, is really integrating all of this together, tying it all in and threading all of us as the one big piece. I think that's really important. And every time we have these meetings, for you to define what you do, and your description gives me a little bit more of that, and that's what I love so much about it. Additionally, that's where that PIO engagement's going to come in, is that we'll be able to come out, say hello, and see what you do, get our hands dirty. So do we have a Cal OES representative on? I don't think we do. I'm not going to touch it.
Yes, sir, right here.
Oh, awesome, great. Yes, Marie.
Who is the county PIO right now? Is it Kristen Lack? Who is it?
It is not. It is Allie Stillwell or Kutzer. She goes by both. I will have her reach out to you. She was here at the last one. She's been with us for a little bit. She's fantastic. We changed PIOs, and now Allie is our absolute rock star. So I'll have her reach out.
And you should be able to get it off the sign-in sheet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All right, Abel, it's all you.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, we don't really have anything for you guys at this time. I'm just essentially a representative for long-term recovery at Cal OES. I'm meant to be a conduit for information and resources for you guys as you start to tackle your longer-term challenges. If you need to contact somebody about hazard mitigation, I can put you in contact with the right people. If you need to contact somebody about individual assistance or public assistance, I can be that guy for you guys. So please feel free to use me as an information resource, as a funding resource, or funding identification resource, I should say. or as a conduit to reach individuals above myself. But yeah, happy to be here, happy to be a part of the team and to help you guys succeed moving forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Abel. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure we'll talk more. Next, we'll move it to the VOAD update. So kind of what I want to think about here is projects that you have upcoming, limiting factors, that's stuff that's holding you back. Not necessarily it can't be done, but it's just troublesome. And then shortfalls is anything that's like, it's just not going to happen. And in case you guys don't know, I'm also in the military, so a lot of my stuff is military, and it just because it works. So lim facts or limiting factors, that's a big thing. And then shortfalls, just anything that's like, we cannot accomplish our mission because of this, and this is not going to get fixed. One of the things we can do with that is, as a group, we can attack that and look at that and build that as a whole and try to fix that shortfall. So we will just kind of go around the room, no particular order. You can just raise your hand and jump in. So we'll start with just updates, projects, and limiting factors, shortfalls, so we can get a good idea of what we need to do going forward.
I'm going to start because I think I probably have the newest or supporting the newest LTRG. The McKinney LTRG is a non-federally designated disaster, McKinney fire, which happened last August, September, or actually July, August. We lost 118 homes on the Klamath River corridor. And the challenge there, limiting factor, is that the primary focus area for the community, the Klamath Community Hall, was destroyed. And because of its location, they're working to get it rebuilt, but because it's so close to the river and in the floodplain, they have some challenges there. So there's rebuilding the community center, number one. And number two, the community is very dispersed. Many people don't know each other. And so getting the word out to the entire area about what needs for support. So we're currently with the Community Foundation, the North State, and World Renew on a needs assessment. We're hoping that World Renew will be able to fund us to be able to do the needs assessment, so we have a real solid database. The LTRG is 100% volunteer right now, so no paid staff, and really working to just get it established and moving forward through the initial phases. So I would say shortfalls right now, we're looking, it's people power. So making sure that the LTRG wider has reached out and brought in the entire community. We have an executive team, they have a bylaws, we have a fiscal sponsor for the LTRG, the Klamath Community Hall Association, and are currently working to find a case manager. So we have a point person who can support. And let's see, April, it's Marie Caldwell from Siskiyou Works. So anyway, so that's kind of our big push at McKinney. Slater Fire is moving forward. There's a lot of support right now there with Hope Crisis Response Network. They have got 6 homes with Hope Crisis Response Network built and under roof and are doing the drywall. So that's super exciting. They have plans for 4 more in spring, summer to have the foundation in. We were awarded, Abby and I wrote the Cal OES Prep CA grant. So we have hired the program manager position. That's Indigo Mack, and she's kind of taken a load off of the Happy Camp Community Action Community Center there, which is good. And we are currently searching for a chief resiliency officer full-time as part of that grant. And so I'm going to send that flyer and that contact to Brian and to Mark. And if you could get it out to all of your networks, that is closing, I think, March, I want to say March 10th. But we're really looking for someone who has disaster recovery, home hardening, fuels reduction focus there. And that person is going to be to help us source additional funds, resources, write grants, and help with fuels reduction and home hardening in the concentric circle to provide a buffer zone for Happy Camp. And then I'm hoping that we'll be able to maybe tag some of what's happening in Slater to help McKinney as well. So because the communities are pretty close. That's it. Right now.
Excellent, thank you. I just have I'm going to do a quick thing here. So real quick, with thumbs up, if you're online, you can just raise your hand on in room. Who's heard of the mill fire and the challenges that mill fire has, right? Cool. All right. So same thing. Who's heard of the challenges that the McKinney fire has had? Right. Significantly less. McKinney fire, there's significant challenges that we as a county, we as the state have seen with McKinney. Marie has been fantastic working with that. There's a significant difference in what's happening between both, and both are very tragic for the county. And even stepping back one more or a couple more years, we're looking at Slater fire is the same. That for me, that's one of the things that me coming on to and into Siskiyou County into this position that was that we faced early on was the Slater fire. And really thinking about that, saying, gosh, if something like that happens even again in that 96 corridor, what does that look like? Well, 2022 happens, here we are again, and looking at that with the McKinney fire in the Klamath River area. So that's really been a challenge. The mill fire has seen a good push. They've got and rightfully it's terrible, but they've gone through it in the Bulls fire. So they were able to reorganize quickly and see that happening. This is one of the things that I think the VOAD is going to be really helpful for, is to put that out across the county, across the state, and our neighboring counties as well, is to have that ability to push our information when we have disasters like that. Marie, I think.
Well, Brian, I was just going to say that the real challenge when you think, this is Marie Caldwell, Siskiyou works for those online. The real challenge and the difference between, say, the mill fire, the McKinney fire, and the Slater fire is that the mill fire and the Slater fire both have centers of community to be able to organize.
Right.
Whereas the McKinney fire is along a corridor and it doesn't have really a center of community other than the Klamath Community Hall, right, as a center for organization. And by nature, the culture of the community is quite different. It is not nearly as centered, right, as Mill in Meade or in Happy Camp. It's much more dispersed. And I think as we move forward with the VOAD, I think it would be really helpful for us as an organization to identify areas in our county that have a center versus a dispersed environment, and have really systems in place to be able to know how to go in and help surround those communities for support, right? For instance, communities that are dispersed need a completely different system than those that have a center. Not that all of them have challenges, but they're very unique challenges even within our county footprint. And so that might, if I could just make a recommendation to the county, it might be great, just in we're looking as building the VOAD, is to determine what type of community, right? To classify what kind of a community or a footprint and what specific systems of support that community might need. And I say shout out to the Klamath Community Hall organization. They've been doing an incredible job at food disbursement, at clothing and needs disbursement, and at holding it together. But when they only have 10 really core or 8 really core volunteers, and they're all volunteer and they're all retired, and many of them lost their own homes, it's harder, right, than say a community that has more systems or more support systems. So that would just be my pitch as you're looking forward from the county, classifying communities and putting in real clear systems of support of need, because we could do that, right? We could probably spitball and lay it out on a board right now to do that.
Right, I agree. It's such a great way to put that. It's really that hub and spoke is just so important. Yes. We'll go Stephen real quick, and then we'll go Theresa.
Just to back what Marie was saying, one thing that happened when the mill fire and the LAC was set up the Family Community Resource Center, we wasn't even included in that LAC. And the Family Community Resource Center has been the hub of that community, serving that community. We're a trusted entity within them, and we weren't even included. So the VOAD should really get on board with identifying these organizations that are already trusted in these communities to help get them on board so they can help lead whatever efforts we're trying to make.
Right. Right. Just
100% agree.
Just streamlined. It'll make it very streamlined.
Yeah, that's really, for us, that was the big push. Like post Millfire, I'm like, we're done. Like we've got to push this forward and make this happen now, because we saw that too, Stephen, that there were agencies that were not represented that should be represented at the LAC. So yeah, excellent point on that. Thank you. Teresa?
Yeah, just to echo what Marie and Stephen were saying, I think another big need that is needed at the McKinney Long-Term Recovery Group is a presence of local agencies from throughout the county. That is a big thing that is lacking at the Long-Term Recovery Group is local agencies that can be at the Long-Term Recovery Group, that can show up at their general membership meetings, to be there to support them. Because right now it is voluntary. It is members of the community that are volunteering their time, and they could just have some support. So if there are agencies that are in this VOAD that can offer their support, that can offer their time to come alongside the McKinney Long-Term Recovery Group, that can show up at those meetings, that can say, hey, we have these resources, or here's my expertise on a long-term recovery group, and can just kind of help shepherd them. Marie's been doing a great job. But Marie also needs some support as well. She's doing a lot. So if there are agencies that can come help step in and be there to show up and offer support and offer funding, offer whatever it may be, the McKinney Long-Term Recovery Group, as well as the 96094 Collaborative, they both could use any and all support as this long-term recovery effort continues to move forward. And the Slater Long-Term Recovery Group, they're still moving ahead as well. Even though we're 2.5, 3 years out from that fire, these groups are still recovering, and we could still use all the support that we could get from any agencies. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you guys have the capacity and the staff to be able to have people show up at these meetings, that would be greatly appreciated.
Great, thank you.
Teresa, I've been badly writing down all the, and I co-opted a bunch from the Slater fire as well. And I have a lot of these emails, but there are a few I don't have, so you'll be getting invites.
Marie, would you leave me with an email contact for McKinney Fire LTRG, and I will send it out when I send out this afternoon's or this morning's notes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. All right, next, whoever would like to raise their hand.
Brian, we got John Michael here with his hand raised.
So I would like to say, if there's anything that Lions can help with, shoot me an email, whatnot, and we may not be able to help with a whole lot anymore with how small we are as a club in Wairika, since we've gone from having 6 to 8 clubs in this valley alone over the last 25 years down to just 1. So we don't have the reach we used to, but if you let us know or shoot us emails or keep in contact with us, we can see where we can help and where we can do. It's just hard for us as a club with only about 12 active members to be everywhere anymore, as opposed to when we had 6 to 8 clubs with 50, 60 members apiece in every town. So just keep us in there, because back 25 years ago, we had 3 Lions clubs. Mount Shasta had 2, Dunsmuir had 2, McLeod had 1, Wairika had 3. But just with the shrinking it has in our area demographically for Lions, it's harder and harder to keep on the ball with knowing what's going on in every community. So yeah, just keep us in the loop, and if there's something we can help, or if we can have a member attend to show our support, especially with liaisoning to our district disaster and our international disaster response and recovery efforts, just And my email and our club email is on that roster. Yeah, just keep us in the loop, let us know, and we will do our best to try to support wherever we can.
The roster will be sent out with the few notes that I'm taking here, as well as a link will be given to everybody so that they can always access the online roster, which will evolve over time.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to count that as a LIMFAC and a shortfall for the Lions. So yeah, excellent. So if anybody else would like to go, some upcoming projects, limiting factors and shortfalls, feel free to go. You do not have to go, by the way, if you don't want to.
We've got Crystal here and Annie has her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would just like to offer that United Policyholders has a LISTOS grant also. And I am happy to do a Zoom presentation on insurance, explaining insurance, talking about the California Fair Plan and how you navigate that. I also can do an in-person when you think your community is ready for that. And I realize that demographically, it's really difficult to navigate insurance if you're on the lower end of the spectrum. But we can do the educational piece about that.
Great, thank you.
Crystal.
Yeah, so while the Ford Family Foundation, we're not one of the agencies, we do have, resources, and the challenge that we always have is identifying who the organization is that's playing that kind of backbone role in the recovery of these communities. You have to be a 501c3 or, a city for us to be able to grant dollars. So helping us identify like who the leaders are or the organization that's really has the community's trust and maybe is working collaboratively around recovery efforts, getting that information to us is something that we're always looking for, people that are on the ground and know what's going on. And I can speak for some of the other funders like McConnell, Community Foundation of the North State, Driscoll. It's really hard for us to be at every single LTRG because there's so many now. And so part of what Ford Family is working on is building this collaborative amongst funders in the North State so we can share where we're seeing gaps, what we've heard at meetings, and kind of provide blanket coverage at these meetings for one another. But we also see value in bringing LTRGs that are in different places, as far as recovery goes, together to, whether it's quarterly, monthly, whatever that looks like, just to share the journey where people are getting stuck and have some of that cross-pollination, peer-to-peer learning exchanges. And those are areas where we can support, whether it's in the role of convener, funder, or, booking a hall to have a gathering in. But these are things that we can do. We just look for the communities to help direct us on where best we can play a role. So being our eyes and ears and just being in contact would be really helpful.
Excellent, thank you. Do I have anyone else that would like to?
All right. Yeah, I'm Dave McAdams from Siskiyou Media Council. So because coming on board in October, one of the things that I saw that Siskiyou Media Council hasn't had, or excuse me, YCTV4 and MCTV15, the two public access stations, haven't really had any relevance in the county in a long time. And I want to be able to change that. And one of the ways to do that is to upgrade our servers. And that's what our project is right now. We're not just a Wayne's World type thing. We have an ability now with the new servers that we are working to get, is that we can take this actually, like at this event we're having right here, we can actually display that live on that channel and on multiple platforms with these new servers. And we're just realized that in Siskiyou County, we are the only privately owned media outlet that the county has. So that means that we are a public a resource that needs to be utilized, and that would give things like this meeting to be publicly aware for the people out there in Siskiyou County, or recovery efforts, or emergency notification, or whatever that you should need. These new servers that we're working on getting will be able to amplify your message. Right now, we've received a grant from the Ford Foundation. Thank you very much. We're working on that. We're working on the McConnell grant for our next round. And when we get enough funds, these new servers will be in line and ready for the fire season. And I'm going to be working with the OES sheriff's department and local agencies to be able to access those servers and be able to put emergency notifications out there to the public. Not only will it go to the cable TV channel or the web player, but it will also go to social media and to the online streaming services like Roku, Fire Stick will have live events like that. So I mean, they'll be able to be transmitted in real time across multiple platforms. So that's what we're working on. So that's what our limiting factor right now is money and personnel. So that's why we're working with Marie Caldwell on working with trying to get people and to help manage this process. And also groups like you, that if you want to be a part of the process of helping emergency notification, we can work with that as well. But that's what we're working on right now.
That sounds good. Thank you, Dave. I am interested in that Wayne's World thing though, so we should look at that. Sheriff and I can do it. So, next, anyone?
That's how I don't need to suck in the high schoolers on that internship opportunity or college. Maybe some of us older college people.
Yeah.
Brian, the One Week of Food Bank is a very small thing, but it's been here for years, and we have a big outreach. We are a donation drop off for the Office of Emergency Services. We go through all the donations. They're available. We reach out to anybody who's in need and anybody that we can help. Please contact us, because if we can't do it, we'll find somebody that can. So we
She's also a lion too.
But yeah, we're there for everybody. And Laura's
I love it. Thank you. That's what, that to me, the best part about Siskiyou County is that we just get it done. I mean, it doesn't matter if there's limiting factors or shortfalls. It just gets done. And I think that that's really, for me, my wife, it feels the same as like, what is so important and what really brings together Siskiyou is that like, we all have our different sections and our different valleys, but when crisis and tragedy hits, it's just like, all right, what needs to be done? How do we fix this? Let's get it rolling. And I love that part of it. It's very fortunate. Anyone else?
Joe's got his hand up.
Okay. Sorry if this is a little triggering, but as Red Cross does community engagements programs, we get a lot of people walking in to our booths or up to our tables, and they're not part of the Red Cross system for recovery, individual family recovery, because it wasn't a wildfire, it wasn't a house fire, but they have their own disaster. So I had one yesterday who a tree fell in their house there in Gazelle. They haven't been able to get power restored for 2 months. I don't want to get into that detail, but given I have a chance to ask a broad range of people at this table, who can I send that type of person to? Because it's within the Red Cross, there's not as much. I knew my own manager would raise her hand because I haven't cleared this with her first. But they're really outside any Red Cross system at the time. So in addition to what the Red Cross might be able to do, I'll preempt a little bit what my manager might say, are there any other organizations that, can also act as references?
Family Resource Collaborative, whatever, so they're in Gazelle, so weed would probably be their closest to our region.
Technically, the hub out of Montague Services is kind of weird, but weed is way closer. You don't have to go to Montague. You can send the weeds and.
Okay.
Yeah, Montague Service commits the whole entire Shasta Valley. So everything from Edgewood, well, not Edgewood, but everything from Gazelle to the Oregon border.
Can you send it to the food bank, the where the food bank is? We can't help them. I'll find somebody.
Yeah,
And if manpower is
over the dozens of people that might come in over the year, there's a lot of different things. So the Family Resource Center sounds like a good starting point.
Yeah,
if they have yet contact.
Yeah,
and if manpower and resources are potentially needed for helping to rebuild something, non-electrical. But potentially Lions could help, right? Because a lot of Lions clubs across the country do help with rebuilds or updating things on houses, or just like I said, when we're so small, it's hard for our few people that are construction wizards and rebuilding wizards to get.
Okay.
Brian, so this is a really good, I think, point of discussion to say, it might be helpful if this group had a small working team, or the county had a small working team, to identify, again, regions, levels of disaster, all the way up to identified federal disasters, down to state disasters, down to local disasters, down to individual disasters, with a tree of referral, so that, you know, that we do have the 211 system, and that's really powerful for those folks who go and who access it. But I think that it could also be nice if we just had among the VOAD an organizational tree to be able to support. So I think maybe a small working team to identify both the regions, the primary organizations that serve in supporting those regions or communities, you know, identifying what type of a community it is, whether it's, you know, centered or dispersed, and then, you know, because then you would know, oh gosh, this is an individual, you'd have a flow chart. You could just move to individual, family resource, you know, Wairika Food Bank or Wheat Food Bank. Right, exactly. The Doris Lions, you know, you'd have a real easy tree to be able to identify. And if they're elderly, you know, go to the family area on aging. Anyway, just having that flow chart, that physical flow chart is really helpful.
It's funny you should say that, because I'm sending everybody home with homework. So that's, so we'll see.
Very interesting in the Doris Lions Club. They're in a completely different Lions district, the one up in Oregon.
Yeah, the same with birds, they split.
Kimberly, you had your hand up. Then we'll go Cheryl.
Okay, sorry, I'll make this quick. I did want to note something from Joe's comment. So if you guys see any storm damage, because I know you guys are going through the winter storm up there right now, if a tree falls down in a house, there's strong wind that damages a home, anything that's, even if it's not a wildfire or home fire related incident, I mean, we've responded to earthquakes, to floods, go ahead and call that in. I can even put the number you would call in for dispatch to go ahead and say, hey, you know, this is the address that got affected. The client, the fire department usually calls it in too, but sometimes they forget. There's a lot going on. So I can put that in the chat too.
No, I appreciate it. And Kimberly, we've used that in the past. It's come to me an individual request, and we've pushed it to Red Cross, and we've gotten great success with that. So I appreciate that.
Oh, actually, one more thing. So I emailed Stephen the other day about facilities in Siskiyou County. So lately, this is not just in Siskiyou. This also happens in Shasta and in Lassen. There's some high schools and elementary schools where they're starting to kind of not allow us to use their facility as a shelter, because there's, you know, just a lot going on in the country with schools. So do you guys have any recommendations, or if you have any other facilities in the county that we could potentially have an agreement with, just let me know, or even the high schools that will allow us to be there?
We have that. We're working that new list,
Okay.
myself and HHSA. So yeah, we'll have that. We'll have that within the next few weeks.
Got it.
So,
thanks, Brian.
and we'll send it over. Yeah, absolutely. Cheryl, I'll have you go next.
So APS has a grant that is California wide, and it's called Home Safe. Whether it's a traumatic event or a storm event, or whatever the situation is, or whether it's just something that's deteriorated over time, they do have monies to repair homes and get them back into livable status. You do have to do an APS referral, but you do it to, you just mentioned under the details that it's a home safe, but they do have funds to help with repairs like roofs, electricity, water. I mean, anything to keep that person safe in their home. Or if it's past that point, they do have help, or they do have monies to help them get into a new home, if that's the situation needed.
Excellent. Thank you. Abel?
Yes, I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Kimberly had mentioned earlier about reporting any damages from the winter storms. So looking at the current force laydown overview of the state, Siskiyou County does qualify for public assistance A through G. So if you're hearing any issues with debris removal, debris cleanup, even if they're within legacy disaster perimeters, if there are impacts because of the winter storms, they can still be addressed. So it's important to kind of feed that information up to the state, especially if there's any unmet needs with individuals, because we're still adding counties, we're still upgrading counties currently. So there's always that potential for Siskiyou County to also take part in individual assistance. So I definitely want to convey that message that if you guys are having impacts, fresh impacts as a result of the winter storm, even if it's within the the Klamath or with McKinney or with Weed, please make sure that you're funneling that information up. I can take that information to the correct individuals, but please make sure that you're getting that annotated with the state so they have visibility on it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I see a hand in the.
Follow-up question. You mentioned legacy disasters. So how far back, what does that mean?
What I mean by that is kind of any previous disaster perimeter. So for instance, with McKinney fire, if you're experiencing debris flow, landslide, etc., within that fire perimeter as a result of the winter storms and just, the soot and everything that comes down, that's a result of that, that qualifies. So, and again, I don't want to speak completely for PA and IA because they are going to have a more authoritative answer than I can have, but it doesn't hurt to ask them and see whether or not it's covered. And I will say that they've been very open to addressing work within previous burn scars because they understand that the new debris flows that are happening as a result of this winter storm are because of unmet or unaddressed issues with debris management. So just putting that out there for the group.
I was just curious how far back, when you talk about previous
as far as
a year, 2 years,
I don't think it matters. I think as long as you can attribute the damage to the winter storm itself, then I think it's something that can be addressed.
So for those that do not know, we do have a federal declaration for the winter storms in January and February that we had. I know the Klamath River was affected. Sawyer's Bar, Scotts Bar roads were both impacted through debris flows and rock falls, as well as Dunsmuir was actually had some flooding issues as well. So those are all part of the FEMA declaration that we pushed a state of emergency for that. Late January, early February for that, and those are still part of. Those are just starting. So those notice of intent, all of the pushing forward of the financial obligations, we're just getting that together. So yes, Marie.
Brian, does that mean that the Klamath River corridor would be eligible for FEMA case management dollars?
Not for the fire, which I try to tie that in. Right.
So if they were affected by the winter storms in January, February, which would be debris flows, damage to their space, displacement, then they would qualify.
We have a meeting with FEMA next week. Can you send me that information and I can make that case to FEMA?
Yes.
That we're going to have IA stuff as well. Most of it was PA, public assistance, but I've been trying to make the case for IA.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course. Great. Anyone else that would like to report out? Okay, I'm seeing none. So to kind of jump on what Marie was saying, one of the things that we would like to do, so we'll put my email as well, and then push an email that we kind of all see. A brief description of what you do, 501(c), whatever nonprofit status you're looking at, and a logo so we can start building that page. We do have our PIO and working on some stuff with that. What services you provide and to who. So like, yes, we will go to Tule Lake, but we won't go to Happy Camp, whatever that looks like, and what's in your scope and what's in your realm. That's going to help me develop that plan and develop those objectives and the roles and responsibilities of what each of us do, or each of you do. So if we can have that, we'll say a drop dead by like March 20th, that gives you a lot of time to write that. So I will put that in the chat. Maybe Owen can put that in the OES1 chat, and then my email as well. So if you could send your logo, brief description of what services you can provide, and then also looking at a logo, or did I say logo? Yes, and then your status, and then services that you provide and to who. We're building that part of our Siskiyou OES page as well, so we'll have that a forward-facing website that we can have everyone's logos on, and we can click and link as well. So think about it as like strategic partners. That is all I have. I'm gonna ask Mark if he has anything, or Jim if they have anything that they'd like to tie in.
I'll tell you what, I'll jump in first here. Let me switch the camera around so that you're not staring at everybody else. There are questions in my mind regarding if we can set up just some basic offices at our next meeting. I'm the de facto secretary / PR guy / do it all guy, just because I was the one who was the least busy during the McKinney and Mill fires. And just started making it happen. But my strengths lie elsewhere, and I know there are people around who are much better at communicating than I am. So there's one question for us. The second question is, would it be worthwhile integrating the county website efforts with the 211 website efforts? And, you know, even if it's a mirror page or whatever the case may be, that way we can get the call out even wider.
I love that. Yeah, let's do it. I would like to see it on every single page ever. And then also with Siskiyou Media Council, as Dave spoke about, I'm seeing that push as well. So I think would be great. So
absolutely. And then just my final thought is for future meetings, I'm willing to continue doing hybrid and see about continuing to host here, unless we feel it's a better idea to just do something else.
We could also flip. We could flip South County, North County, and I have a pretty large space that we could use at Pleasant.
Okay.
I like that.
In Marty.
Excellent. Jim, did you have?
I just wanted to let you guys know I'm working with the McKinney Fire Long-Term Recovery Group to put on a Friday night, Saturday grief and trauma recovery seminar. It's one I've been teaching for decades. And when we get that information, we'll make it available to everybody, exactly what the times are. I know where we're going to be, but we just need to work out some of those details on that. And the other thing, I just want to update, we out here in Happy Camp with Hope Crisis Response Network, they have 4 homes that are waiting to be tape and textured over the sheetrock because they've been completed on the outside. The electrical, the insulation, sheetrock's all been done. It's all passed. We have 5 more houses that will be built, but that won't start until most likely the spring when the weather clears. Because one of the challenges out here for Hope Crisis is the contractors will only want to give bids and will come out for the work that has to be contract work if we have 5 houses to do at one time, because then it's more economical for them to come out. So that's one of the challenges in a more rural community when you're rebuilding, is the contractors they'll give you a bid for one house, but it'll be a lot more than if they can say, hey, we're going to bring our team out and do 4 or 5 homes all at one time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Brian, I have
yes.
a question. Just to clarify, the Siskiyou County VOAD, is it its own 501c3? Is it sponsored by another 501c3? Is this a membership organization? Or are we just a group of individual organizations that are coming together to coordinate efforts?
VOAD is not a 501c3 unless the local group wants to become a 501c3. 3C because it is a collaboration, cooperation to communicate and to cooperate during a disaster, to work together. VOAD was started 50 years ago by the American Red Cross, Salvation Army, and the Mennonites and other groups after Hurricane Camille because they didn't know how to work together. So we have county VOADs that are 501c3s. We have county VOADs that are not. It's up to the local county if they want to do it. But as NorCal VOAD, we're not a 501c3. So
that might be something
System.
I can put that in the Slack as well. And for those of you who are not in the Slack, I'll get you in there. We can look at that and put that in as a poll. We can do anonymous if we want, see who wants to be part of that or whatever that looks like. Marie?
Brian, I wasn't suggesting that we create one because we have like, I think we 501c3s in Siskiyou County bump into each other like left and right. I just didn't know if there was a funding mechanism, and as we move forward, that's something maybe after we do officers and figure that out, what that might look like, because and I know like all the Mill Fire has a fiscal sponsor, the McKinney Fire has a fiscal sponsor, the Slater Fire has a fiscal sponsor. It might just be maybe all of those different organizations coming together and deciding, identifying a fiscal sponsor. So I wasn't suggesting we start one. I just needed clarification on organization structure.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. I did see in chat, Theresa added about a tabletop exercise or a functional exercise or something. I have already been planning that. So in May, we have our exercise for our EOC, kind of knock the cobwebs off. I say knock the cobwebs off, but we're like always active. So it's our team is amazing. So what we're going to do, May we'll have I think April we have a tabletop exercise is what I have planned, and then May I have a functional exercise where our EOC is actually in butts and seats. What I would love to do is have that part of it, and I'm going to have a VOAD representative being able to make those calls and have unmet needs that we need to have addressed, and whatever that looks like. There'll also be kind of what I was thinking about is having myself step away from that EOC director position and see what happens as we move forward and what it looks like and what decisions are made. So that is my plan. So I love that. It's like you guys are all on the same page, which I think is important. And then in the other part, what has been so great is that in the past, watching all of you as a group work together has just been amazing to see that throughout our many disasters that we have in this county. So thank you again. I know I say that a lot, but I can't emphasize that enough, is that when it happens, you just step in and do, and then you can't ask for anything better than that. So I appreciate that. So with that, Kim, you had something. Did you put it in chat?
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of our next steps. Those are what we're looking at. Next steps, I think, kind of that. Again, brief description of what you do. Send it to OES1 at co.siskiyou. Ellen can put that in chat. And then next meeting, what are we thinking? I like the North County, South County thing. I definitely want to be in person more. I know some of you are scattered all over the place, but for me personally, I like to be in person. So whatever that looks like. Mark, what are we thinking date wise? What did we run this one out? A couple months?
This one was out a couple of months.
Okay.
I think that since we're stepping up to a couple of exercises, it might be worthwhile slating it for next month.
Yeah, that works.
Which would
March.
If we look 1 month out, that would actually be March 23rd.
Which is a what? Do we know that day?
Thursday. That's a Thursday.
I like Thursdays. Anybody else have a problem with Thursdays? I think Thursdays are calm for me. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I'll be gone on that day, Thursday and Friday, I think.
Do you want to try the next week, Marie, since you'd be our, unless Brian wants to wrangle it back over to the county,
Let me just double check that I'm not traveling in the afternoon.
right?
So I know there's a few people that were at the last meeting that can't make it to Thursday meetings at this time because their nonprofit is operating. They're getting ready to operate at this time. So
Would it be appropriate to put together a just a survey and see what,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
days of the week and times are the best?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll put that in the Slack, Mark, and then I'll build that survey. Look for it this afternoon, and then I'll have a pretty quick turnaround closeout date on that, so we can get that next one on the books.
All right.
If we stick with morning on Thursday, that's fine. And I don't have to be in Chico until Friday morning, so travel that.
All right. And why don't we plan on just going with the Wairika Mount Shasta back and forth plan?
If that works, yeah.
So.
Cool. All right, so I'll get that poll in. And then
Crystal's got her hand up too, Brian.
Yes. Yes.
Just one more plug. I know that May, isn't it? Is it National Wildfire Preparedness Month or?
Yes, it is.
So I know that there are some organizations, maybe agencies that have some sort of event or, community engagement activities planned. Please reach out in case it's a fit for anything that we could maybe support, because we're looking at the resiliency side of these disasters as well.
Excellent. Yes. We haven't announced it yet, but we're looking at a preparedness fair as well. So we're working on that, tying all that together.
Yeah, learn more.
Awesome. All right. So with that, I'll do any last around the room. If anybody has anything they'd like to throw out. Seeing Dave, I got one.
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about future finance on the.
Oh, yep, we can. Yeah, let me go back.
I just had something I didn't know if I just got this the other day. It's called the LISTO, the California CERT Support Grant that was issued out on February 8th. It's talking about California Community Emergency Response Team programs that are to do training.
Yeah, Listos. Do we have anybody on from Listos? Matt?
No.
Yeah, United Way is doing Listos for Siskiyou County.
So
yes,
this is applicants may apply for up to $25,000 for training, for equipment, things like that. I heard office space. There's a whole list of things that's going, and the submission deadline is March 20th. I will put that in the chat.
Awesome. I know we have some Listos professionals on this chat that we can tie into with Dave to help on that. Yeah. Awesome. Great. All right. So with that, I am going to send out that poll today at 1400. Remember, there's a little bit of homework, and then we'll get those pages built and dialed in. Again, I cannot thank all of you for your time and for what you do. It is awesome to see you guys get out there, get your hands dirty and do it. It is much appreciated on our end from the county, and then especially for me personally as an emergency manager, to know that I can just reach out and have you guys out there is huge for me. So thank you. I can't thank you enough. With that, I will send out that poll, and then I will send out that email address. I think it's in there. Excellent. This has been recorded, so if there's anything else, we can reach back and go over it. So, all right. With that, we will.
I'll be talking with both Owen and Dave to see if one of them might be able to host the recording for future viewing.
Perfect. Yeah. Either we can do it as well. So, yep.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.